What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. We got a lot to break down, but we're starting with Bethenny Frankel and Kelly Bensimone dating the same guy. I'm up here and you're down here. Let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. What's up, everybody in the club? In the club, we all fam. Hi, guys. Welcome on in. Hopefully, you've had a great start to your week. Hopefully, you have gotten a lot of things done, a lot of things accomplished. I have some exciting things that I'll hopefully get to share very soon. Yeah. How's everybody doing? Are you so excited about the new episode of RHONY, the reboot? I will say, what do you call it? The ratings have actually been a lot better, considering they now have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills as a lead-in. So it's been good. Let's see, what were the last? So the last one, believe it or not, the last episode of RHONY last week got 384,000 views in live views. So these are always the live views. Like, these are the people that are watching it in real time on Bravo, right? Not the Peacock numbers. Obviously, the Peacock numbers tell a different story. They add more, but RHONY has been really struggling. I mean, it's sad that like the numbers are finally starting to peak when I feel like the season is really blah and like the content is just really not good. But the fact that they now have Beverly Hills as a lead-in, and Beverly Hills is getting over 700,000 live views, which is solid. It's the best that any of the other Housewives shows have gotten. So, I mean, it is what, about half of the audience is tuning out once RHONY comes on. But they're trying. They're doing better. They had their pigeon dinner last week, still fighting about the damn prank. And Rebecca Minkoff that nobody cares about because she's so boring. I mean, we thought that like the shade was that she's in, what is it, Nordstrom Rack, which I don't think is that shady. I think like I love Nordstrom Rack. Bryn wishes, but like to me, just Rebecca Minkoff is so boring. Like, there's nothing interesting. Like, everyone said Teddy was the most boring housewife. I'm like, Rebecca Minkoff, throw her right there next to Garcelle. Throw her in the garbage with Garcelle's book. Talk about boring. So yeah, we shall see what happens with RHONY. But I mean, surprisingly, that episode did better than Salt Lake City last week. The Salt Lake City episode with Mary Cosby, even though that was such a powerful episode, that was Salt Lake City's worst viewed episode, which I was shocked by. Here's the other interesting thing, and we'll get into this. I did talk about it on Juicy Scoop, which, by the way, if you guys have not tuned into Heather McDonald's Juicy Scoop, then definitely be sure to tune in. I was on Juicy Scoop. We filmed it yesterday, but it aired this morning. Be sure to tune into Juicy Scoop with Heather McDonald. I'm on the podcast today. You can watch it on YouTube. Subscribe to Juicy Scoop on YouTube. You can listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. When you do listen, like, be sure to leave a comment and be like, Zack back in the house, and show Heather that like we show up and show out. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback for it so far. So that's made me happy that people have really been enjoying the show. I saw some of the comments and they were so sweet. And I was like, okay, good. I feel validated. I feel like people love me. They like me. They really like me. So yeah. That's what I got to say. Laura already commented. Okay, Laura, then go leave a review. I want all the validation, all of it, please. Lori says, I thought Salt Lake City was decent. Okay, well, here's the interesting thing. Let's talk about Salt Lake City, and then we'll get into the Bethany and the Kelly Bensimone of it all. But so Potomac is horrible. Yeah, I haven't watched Potomac this season. I feel like after they lost Monique Samuels, I kind of just lost interest, and I tried. But then I was like, okay, now they also lost Candace. I was glad to see that they lost. Glad to see that they lost. What's her name? Robin. See, I can't even remember her name. Glad that she's gone because she was not that interesting. But yeah, you know, Anyway, that said, Potomac boring, but Salt Lake City. Okay. So I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was a few months ago when they were in production that there was this rumor that came out that Lisa Barlow and Mary Cosby got into a fight and they took shots at each other's kids and like they called out each other's parenting. And I guess the rumor was these are the allegations. Okay. The rumor was that Lisa Barlow took a shot at Mary's parenting by talking about her son and I guess making or alluding to him possibly being on, you know, substances, right? The safe word for YouTube. He was possibly on the substances. And so that was kind of the cheap shot that Lisa Barlow threw at Mary Cosby. And Mary Cosby made a cheap shot back. And I believe she allegedly referred to Lisa Barlow's son as the R word. And people are like, what is the R? I remember last time when I first talked about this story, everyone was like, what is the R word? What does the R word mean? Republican? She called him a Republican. I'm like, yeah, guys, she called him a Republican. Like, that's why I'm going to refer to it as the R word because it's Republic. Like, come on. Everyone's like, what, racist? Did she call him a racist? Which nobody even calls people racist anymore. Now the new like term to call people is conspiracy theorists. If we don't like you and we want to shame you, we've stopped calling people racists. We now call them conspiracy theorists. But so the R word is not racist. It's not Republican. I don't know if YouTube will allow me to say it. The RETARD word. I know. Listen, some people are like heavily offended. Retarded. That's the word. That's literally the word. I know some people get like super offended by or like they clutch their pearls. Sorry, not clutch. You don't clutch your heels unless you're like having sex, but clutch their pearls over that word. So yeah. Laura says, I mean, someone called me racist recently. Oh, then maybe you are one, Laura, because it's no longer trendy to use that term. So if they're calling you that, maybe they meant it. I'm kidding. Um, so yeah. But so that exchange apparently happened between Lisa Barlow and Mary Cosby. And so we heard that that was going to be coming out because this was like a big, massive blowout. But now I heard that that altercation went down at this what Girl Scout? Like what was the Girl Scout Day? Is that what we're calling it? So and instead what they did was, they focused on Mary making fun of Meredith Marks's hearing aid. I didn't realize she had hearing aids. But I guess that's why I guess we never see her ears because she doesn't want people to see that she has hearing aids. But yeah, she's like, oh, so we're making fun of people with disabilities now? We're making fun of people with disabilities? You talked about my hearing aid. I'm just like, really? Don't tell Donna Bowling that Meredith Marks has hearing aids, because then Donna Bowling's really gonna make fun of Meredith Marks. That's a joke. Love you, Donna. So yeah, you know, Sarah, my granddaughter said we don't use the M word because Planet of the Apes. What is the M word? Monkey? We're not allowed to name an animal? What is the M word? Remember we were no longer allowed to say monkeypox. Now it's Mpox. So Cassie said, my disabled uncle has called me the R word and I'm not easily offended by it. Well, you're not supposed to be offended by it, Cassie. He's allowed to be, you know. Distinguished guest says, is M word moron? Is that a bad word? Have we canceled the word moron? Listen, I see a lot of morons every day, and I'm just like, my goodness. Next, it'll be chicken pox. Chickens will be sad. We're we're both allowed to say anything anymore. Zack, where have you been? I'm not up to date on, the woke dictionary of terminology we're no longer allowed to use or say anymore. Joe says, I have been called a slut before, and that is offensive and defamatory. Well, Joe, we all know you're a slut. So, like Katie Maloney says, why? Because I call you a whore? Call it like I see it. You know. Sarah says, oh my God, yes, monkey, because they think it's bad. It's getting crazy. You can't say anything. Why can't we say monkey? They're at the zoo. You can see them at the zoo. Imagine we're no longer allowed to say the word monkey, so then we go to the zoo, and what do we call it? What do we name the monkeys now? I don't know. Anyway, let's get back into Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But so they essentially they cut that out, and I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because we don't want like another scandal. And obviously, Mary Cosby, big part of her storyline is her son's addiction, and and her struggling with that as a mother. And then we have this really poignant scene at the end of the episode that focuses on Mary's storyline. So I understand why they would want to cut it out from Lisa Barlow's perspective, because they don't want Lisa Barlow to look bad by poking at Mary's son's addiction. And then they don't want Mary to look bad because obviously this is a more humanizing moment for Mary. And like you can't have like Mary look bad and then not look bad in the same scene. But like made as Heather McDonald said on Juicy Scoop this morning, she talks about how she's like, but we know like Mary's been awful and Mary's called people horrible names. Like Mary is like one of the most ruthless and toothless, right? She called Heather Gay inbred, you know? Remember at the comment where she was looking at Whitney and she's like, women. She called her you can leave, little girl. And then the mean text messages that she would send the women. Remember, she would like send these vile text messages to them. So like Mary has that side of her, but I get we're trying to give her a good edit this season. We want the fans to like her again because now she's full time and yada yada yada. But so we get to this scene where Mary Cosby's talking to her son, and he's very obviously under the influence. And I've said this, I want to say on the podcast at the beginning of the season of Salt Lake, it's very obvious that he's on something a lot stronger than just weed. And so in this scene, we see Mary talk about how she always knew that he was, he smoked pot. And so she's like, I knew of, like she was aware of him and, the Mary Jane, but she wasn't aware of anything else. And here he opens up about a lot, about prescription pills and mixing things and, putting this substance with that substance. And it started when he was 16. And I really believe that Mary was in total denial. I don't think she intentionally went into this scene wanting to out her son's addiction, but I think that she really wanted to believe that, he was just kind of lost and he was just, a pothead that, struggled with his direction in life. And then when he's opening up and telling her all of these things on camera, I don't think that she was aware, you know? So to me, it was a very poignant scene. It was a very raw scene. It was very emotional. As I said on Juicy Scoop, I liked this scene because to me it was raw and authentic. And this is what reality TV should be, no filter, very open, transparent, letting us see the real struggle of your life without the curation, without the filter, without the, let me try to produce myself. I think that this was a scene that Mary went into thinking she was just going to have a convo about her son's future and be like, what's going on? And like, how do we get you back on track? And I'm not going to tolerate you not being on track. And now I think this is the first time she realized how deep he was into this. Because you also have to remember, we saw a few minutes of their conversation, but I'm pretty sure this conversation went on for a lot longer, And so now we have Allie, Jill Zarin's daughter. And Allie has come out and she posted a whole statement about how she hates that people are praising this scene because it's very clear that, her son, Robert Jr. is not in a good place. And she's like, we shouldn't be talking about this on the show as a former Real Housewife kid. It's, not healthy. It's not good. You're exploiting him. Like the only time you should address this is after he's been in rehab. And she hates that the audience was in love with this scene, or at least praising this scene. But I don't think it's that the audience was like, yeah, she flipped a table, right? I think the audience was connecting to, I think the audience is built up of a lot of men, sorry, not men, a lot of mothers and women that could connect to Mary's heartbreak in that moment. I had friends that have kids and that watch that scene and it broke their hearts, So I understand where Allie's coming from because like Allie obviously like she was embarrassed, right? Because like her mom sent her to fat camp in the OG days of Real Housewives in New York because like at that time like it was okay to send your kids to fat camp. Or not that it was okay, but like it was a normal thing. Be like, all right, you gained a few pounds, we're sending you to fat camp. And so I get it, that was embarrassing for Allie. She didn't want her weight issues displayed on the show. And like that can be challenging because sometimes it is exploitive. But I think when it comes to Mary, I don't think she was trying to exploit her son. I think she genuinely, like I said, thought that she was gonna have a combo with him about his future, and then realized as this was happening, as it was unfolding on camera. And then once, the worms are out of the can, like, you can't put them back in. Like, at this point, it's out there, and so you kind of just have to lean into it. And he's definitely struggling, but I think she's definitely I've talked to Kate Casey a lot about this because I was just like, how is she allowing in previous episodes, I was like, how is she allowing him to go on camera like this? Like, he looks so bad. You can tell like he's on some really strong stuff. And Kate's like, she's in denial. She's like, she doesn't want to believe that her son has an addiction or that her son is struggling. It's easier for her to believe that he's just a little lost. Especially because the way that she describes him, she's like, he was a straight A student and it's so like heartbreaking when you hear her talk about how like she's like, you're my gift, like God gave you to me. You're supposed to be my gift that I'm supposed to take care of, and like I want to help you, I can try to help you. And you can see like it was just so vulnerable and raw. And I compare it to the last best scene that I've seen like this. I mean, I guess we've had like some moments, right? But the last scene that I feel like we see like this was Vicky on OC when she found out that her mother passed away, and she's on the phone with Brianna, and she's like, "What? What?" And then she falls to the floor, and she's just sobbing, and then the other women come in, and they're like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And she's like, "My mom died. My mom, I just saw her." And she's like screaming and sobbing, and it just breaks your heart because we've all in some way dealt with some sort of loss or heavy grief, or we've lost a parent or a loved one in some way that we can relate to that. And I think we can also relate to Mary's pain in this scene. It's so real and it's heartbreaking, right? It's very different from like the Aaron scene that I talked about yesterday on RHONY, where the Aaron scene where they talk about abortion, it felt forced. It felt like it was pandering. They also put in Jenna Lyons, who's, the lesbian housewife that also feels like, we're trying to like make this scene. Like it was just, it felt all too forced. And we knew that going into it, that those were the talking points that they had discussed, and the producers were like, yeah, you're going to talk about your glamour magazine and the abortion, all of that stuff. It just didn't feel genuine. Especially because it was coming from Aaron, who we know not only voted for Donald Trump in the past, but also donated to his campaign, and like hasn't really addressed that or addressed the transition in where she's at politically. So it felt disingenuous on RHONY. But like this scene on Salt Lake City, the scene of Vicky on OC, because then you even have like right after that, you have Heather Dubrow, and the camera follows her, and she calls Terry, and it's like, what's going on? And she's like, I just wanted to tell you I love you. She's like, Vicky's mom just died. And he's like, what? Like just right now? And she's like, yeah, he just died right now. And she's like, I needed to call you, and I needed to tell you that I love you. And like, it's just such a real scene because in that moment you see her have that like light bulb of like, oh my God, life is short. Like I need to tell the people that I love them more often, you know? So Danny says, did all of this start once she joined the show? I cannot imagine the pressure and shit talking her experience with his mom being on and his great grandfather being his daddy that messes with you. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. No, he said that he started, abusing substances when he was in high school when he was 16. So yeah. While I understand Allie's perspective, like, from a moral standpoint, like, it's a hard scene to watch and to know that this is being aired out for millions of people and knowing that this could affect him and that, he's not clean. And even recently, it doesn't seem like he's gone to rehab or anything. It seems like, that's something she may still be in denial about if he's like, "I'm okay, I'm taking less," or whatever. Like, I think that's a challenge for her. Um and we'll just have to see how that journey continues to unfold. But it is heartbreaking and it does make me very sad to see that. So while I agree, Allie is feeling a type of way about this as a housewife kid. But I mean, this is why people really need to consider whether or not they want to put their families on reality shows. Like if they want to do a reality show, like this is what it involves. This is what it entails. There are parts of your family that are going to be put out there for the world and that is going to affect your kids. And that's a decision that you really have to weigh. Reality TV is not for everyone, and it's certainly not gonna be healthy for your family. Laura says people stick their kids all over social media. Yeah, but it's a little different, right? Like people aren't having real conversations with their kids about addiction on social media. They're not going on Instagram Live and being like, guys, let's talk about this. So it is just tough, heartbreaking, sad. You know, we shall, we shall see. We shall see. But let's talk about RHONY and Real Housewives of New York and Kelly Bensimone and Bethenny Frankel because there's a lot to dissect there, and a follow up from yesterday. So, but before we do that, I did want to remind everybody that this week's episode is brought to you by Lipozene. I got it right here for you. Lipozene. We love us some Lipozene. And I personally love Lipozene because it fits into everybody's lifestyle hassle free. So, Lipozene is a weight management supplement that helps the customer reach their desired weight by helping them feel fuller faster. With over 35 million bottles sold, Lipozene is one of America's most trusted weight loss management supplements. Okay. If you want to make sure you're staying on track with your goals during the holiday season, or you want to jumpstart your New Year's goals, this is a great time to do that. With Lipozene, you don't need any drastic changes because it fits into the lifestyle that you're already living. Lipozene contains no stimulants, and it's non-GMO, gluten-free, and caffeine-free, which means no jitters, okay? It's shipped discreetly right to your door, starting at just $29.95. You have 1 month to try it. If you don't like the results that you get, then you can call them back and return it for the purchase price. Terms and conditions do apply, but shipping is absolutely free, okay? Lipozene contains glucosamine, which scientific studies recognize that it has the ability to support weight management with a combination of a balanced diet and healthy lifestyle. The fiber in lipozene can absorb the water, so it expands up to 20 times its weight, and this helps you feel fuller quicker when you take it with water before your meals. Okay. So if you want to start to lose weight with lipozene, all you have to do is take 2 capsules with 8 ounces of water at least 30 minutes before you have your 3 largest meals of the day. If no 2 days are the same for you, don't worry about it because you can easily tailor your lipozene doses to your ever-changing schedule. Like with me, my schedule fluctuates from day to day depending on if we have, if I have somebody else's podcast to do, or we have, the pop report days that we tape. So I can be all over the place all the time, which is why I like the convenience that lipozene brings. I've been taking it for a couple weeks now. I will keep you posted on my results. I want to look snatched. I'm going to look snatched for the new year. But give Lipozene a try. For the trial offer, go to lipozene.com, Lipozene, 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 lipozene.com, and be sure to use code NOFILTER. Okay. Use promo code NOFILTER so that you know that I sent you and you listened to the No Filter podcast and you wanted to try Lipozene. So go give it a try and let me know what you think. Lipozene.com, use code NOFILTER. Boom. Coley says, coming in late, but loved you on Juicy Scoop. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Joe Mendoza says, I don't know if Kelly Bensimone is famous enough to be granted a Raya account. Okay, so let's get into it. So Kelly Bensimone was just at the latest live show for Page Six. So the virtual reality podcast, they had Kelly Bensimone in the show, and in it, she revealed that she's on Raya. And on Raya, she met with this really cute guy. And this really cute guy, his name is Tom Vellante. And we know Tom because, dun 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 dun, Tom happens to be dating Bethenny Frankel. We saw her go official. She's been seen around town with him, and it seems that they're becoming an item. They haven't confirmed that they're an official exclusive item, but they've been hanging around a lot of each other. And so Kelly Bensimone says that she matched with Tom on Raya, and they were chatting for a minute, and he kept trying to meet up with her, and he kept trying to see her, and he wanted to hang out with her. And not only did he not get the opportunity to hang out with her, but he also did not get the opportunity to hang out with, well, he's been hanging out with Bethany, but Kelly, I guess she's like, my schedule's just been so busy that I couldn't find time to like go on a date with him, but he's been pursuing me for quite some time. And then I showed her to a friend because I thought he was cute, only to find out that the friend sent me an article showing that Tom and Bethany are an item. And I was like, oh, so she had no idea that Bethany had been dating this guy, but also this guy is still on Raya, still matching with women, still going out with women. And I don't know how she feels. I don't know how she feels about that. Oh, Mary Janet says, Zach, I like your show, but your comment about Aaron donating to Donald Trump as if it's a terrible thing gives me pause. I too voted for Trump. Do you prefer Trumpers not watch your podcast? Mary, you sound like you're new to my podcast. I don't know if you know who I voted for. But no, my point in bringing up the Aaron thing and the Trump thing is that she went from voting for him and donating to him in the past, and now she's going on RHONY talking about abortion. So there's a disconnect. So to me, it felt disingenuous. I said this on the podcast yesterday. Like, if you're a conservative housewife, be a conservative housewife and lean into that. If you're a liberal housewife, feel free to lean into that. I don't think the network often allows conservative housewives to vocalize their opinions more than they allow liberal women to voice their opinions on these shows. But if, like, own it, and if you've shifted course, if you've changed your vote in the past, and you know have come into this new era of where you're at now, then like, let's get to know that. Like, let's understand how you got from point A to point B, because there is a disconnect. I have no judgment to anybody for who they voted for. I have, supporters and viewers that went Trump, that went Biden, that went Harris, that went Hillary, that whatever, more power to you. I'm just glad that you felt compelled enough to put your vote out there. But yeah, so just clarifying that. I talked about it more in yesterday's podcast. Cheryl says, "Uh-oh, scary island comes to mind." Oh, because of the Tom thing. It's funny that his name's Tom too. Oh my god, that's so funny. Because that's what Luann, I was just watching that clip the other day on TikTok where she's like, please don't let it be about Tom and Bethany's like, it's about Tom. And she's like chugging the bottle of Skinny Girl as she like has to show this picture of this woman and Tom at the Regency making out together, which is funny because I was looking at the photo. I didn't remember the photo before, but I was looking at the photo, and I was looking at the corner of the bar that Tom was making out with this woman in. And I noticed, because when we were on tour back in 2022, up in Adam and I, went to the Regency because we're like, we need to see what this Regency is all about. Sonia's always here, and Tom was making out with other girls here. And it's funny because when I looked back at the photo, I was like, oh my God, Adam and I took a photo in that exact corner back when we went to visit the Regency back in 2022, and we had martinis and got drunk that night and had a lot of fun in New York. So yeah, we went to, I think the vlog from that New York trip is up somewhere on YouTube that you can see it. But yeah, it was just funny to be like, oh shit, we were literally in the exact same corner that Tom was making out with this woman in. So yeah. Well, Janelle. So do we think that Bethany is going to stay with Tom now that it's been revealed that Kelly Bensimone has been talking to him? Not officially dating, but they were talking. So, okay, let's get into this conversation. This is more of a disaster daters conversation, but I want to get into it today only because it came up on the podcast yesterday. Okay. So yesterday, my friend Jacques, who he had a podcast. It was called The Unpopular Podcast. He's a writer at the Daily Mail. And he had texted me a screenshot of this guy. And he's like, of this guy's Instagram. And he's like, I saw that you like this guy's photo. How do you know this guy? We just matched on Hinge. And I was like, what? And so I then, I like spiraled a little bit because I was like, "Oh my god, has Jacques been banging this guy? Has he been dating this guy? Has he been talking to this guy?" Because this is a guy that I had dated from April until July of this year, and he was like, the first person that I was really like interested in and going out with after the last situation, right? And we all know about the last situation. And so that situation, wrapped up, and I wanted to put my eggs in a new basket. And so this guy was that new basket that now Jacques is matched with on Hinge. And so after this, I was like, Jacques, like, what are you doing? Are you going to go out with this guy? Like, this is the guy that I was, had been dating for a few months, whatever. And so this is what I will say about Jacques, because here's the update after yesterday. And this relates to Bethany and Kelly. Jacques was a solid one. Okay. He literally messaged this guy and he's like, "Oh my God, you seem like a really sweet guy. But I just found out that you had dated my friend. And like, there's bro code and like I can't break bro code. And so I'm sorry. I just don't feel comfortable, pursuing anything with you." And then the guy flipped out and had this whole spiral moment. And maybe we will tell the whole story. I think maybe I'll bring Jacques on Disaster Daters. We'll get into the full story of it all, because this guy lost his shit, like full on had a spiral moment. And I was like, ooh. But I was and I even thanked Jacques afterwards. I was like, Jacques, like, you're a real one. Like, not that I ever doubted that you were a real one, but like I've been burned and backstabbed so many times that like I just come to accept that people are probably just gonna always burn you and backstab you no matter how good of friends that you think that you are. So Lori says that's good though, but the guy freaking out says a lot too. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But I have to put respect on Jacques' name. He is a real one. Um, so yeah, Jacques is a real one. And and then he was like sending me the messages that the guy was sending to him, because the guy was like totally freaking out and totally spiraling, because the guy's like, I've never even dated anybody in LA, because he's new to LA. He's like, I've never even dated anybody in LA. And like, your friend must be delusional, and your friend must be need a mental evaluation if he thinks that he was dating me. And like, who's even your friend? And then he was telling Jacques that Jacques sounded sketchy. And I was just like, whoa. Jacques, like, he is like psycho. He's like spiraling right now. And I was like, whoa. Um, which, by the way, okay, so let's get into this conversation about Kelly and Bethany and me and Jacques and the guy in the middle, right? Because um when I say that I had dated this guy, right? It's because, and maybe we can settle this argument in the comments now. When I say that I dated this guy, we had matched on a dating app. So we met on a dating app. And from that dating app, we went on several dates. We had gone out, we'd made out. He's been to my apartment, I've been to his apartment. I met his cat. He's met my dogs. I pet the pussy, like, the cat, you guys, the cat. But like, so for me, it's just like, hello, from April to July, we were talking consistently. We were going out on dates together. He accidentally met my mother when we ran into her at a bar in West Hollywood one time, So to me, no, we weren't exclusive. No, we weren't boyfriends, but we were dating because we met on a dating app. We had gone into this under the impression that we were interested in possibly, looking for a relationship with someone. The objective was dating, and we did go on multiple dates together. So, you know, not pat the puss. Yes, pat the puss. Sydney says, I mean, that's dating. Thank you. Books We Love says, totally dating. Thank you. And Nancy didn't like him as well. She knows. You're right. My mother did not like him. So, yeah, she sensed something. Creative Ideator says, Jacques has always been a good friend. Yes, he has been. Yes, and Nancy did not approve. Us moms, no. See, you guys remember that Nancy didn't approve. Mothers, no. Yeah. Lori says Kelly not dating. It's not so okay. So Lori says that that's not dating. Well, then what is that? If you even if you weren't dating, friends don't go after a friend's potentials. It's just weird. Yes, I agree, but I'm not focused on the Jacques thing. Like Jacques is fine. I'm focused on the other guy thing, 4th of July guy. I'm focused on him because he says that he's never dated anybody while he's lived in LA. And I was like, well, what did we do? We were just bros hanging out, you know? Like what? So, like technically, like it's technically date like there's different types of there's casual dating and then there's serious dating. Casual dating is when you're going out with somebody and it's not really formal. Well, it's not like official, right? It's not exclusive. You guys aren't boyfriends, but like hello, And Jacques was really nice because he's like, "I don't like the way that he's talking about you." He didn't know what this 4th of July guy does not know that I'm Jacques' friend that he dated, right? Or didn't date. He hasn't put those pieces he wasn't able to figure out who Jacques' friend was. Um, so, yeah. He's such a fucking liar, Camille. Yeah. Laura says, "Is he still in the closet?" No, he's on Hinge. Lori says, Sydney, so I voted Zack dated, but Kelly did not. Oh, got it. To clarify, you voted that I dated the guy, but Kelly did not date the guy because they never technically met up, but they did on Raya. But there was no formal date. There was never a going out. Lori says, Zack, now he does. No, I don't think he listens to my podcast. Is he European? No, he's from Ohio. Hope he listens. I don't think he listens to the podcast. I know he's listened to Disaster Daters in the past, which also, like, I don't know. That's just, but like, hello, that is dating. But it's so crazy because he literally had the nerve to tell Jacques, you're the type of guy, like, you're the reason why dating in LA is so toxic. And I'm like, no, bro, like, you're the reason why dating in LA is so toxic because you don't even know that you're dating somebody when you're literally on a dating app, you match with them and then started going on dates with them. Like we weren't just hanging out to be bros. You kidding me? What do you think? I fell out of a coconut tree? You know? So no, I don't think Kelly Bensimone dated, but I do think it's a little sketchy that Tom is still on dating apps when it seems that he's a little more exclusive with Bethany, but they may just be dating and they may not be official or exclusive. So yeah. Sydney says, "Oh, please." He listens here or there. Oh, listen, maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he'll rage text me. Listen, Jacques showed me the messages and I was like, this guy is legit crazier than I thought that he was. Like, truly, like bananas. I was like, wow. Marianne Stout says he must have dated and hooked up with a lot of guys if he can't figure it out. Clearly, clearly. So I don't know. I mean, April to July wasn't that long ago. Like, how many people were you going on multiple dates with? Cecilia says, Zach, you deserve better. Just move on. There's someone's. Yeah, listen. I'm not still attached to him. I left him on 4th of July, and I have not texted him, talked to him, spoken to him. Nothing. I unfollowed him on Instagram. Like I absolutely ditched that bullet back in July. It was just funny that he's now re-entered the group chat through via Jock. And, like, listen, in LA, like, gay guys bang each other all the time, right? Like, it's like a whole melting pot and everybody just swaps cum, but, like, I don't know. I don't know. Anna says she talked to him before dating B. He probably figured out that Kelly is a buffoon. No, it sounds like she was talking to him while he was dating Bethany. Or at least that's the impression that she got. But now that you say that, Anaconda, it is possible that maybe she had matched with him before he and Bethany really started dating and they were chatting. And then because the friend recognized him in the article with Bethany, then she sent it to Kelly. And Kelly was like, oh, yeah, that guy had been pursuing me, but maybe he was pursuing her before Bethany. And then it was just more recently that she found out that he's now dating Bethany, of more of like, what a coinky dink. He was pursuing me and then he ended up with Bethany. That could be possible too. Sydney, now we all avoid Toms. Yeah, it seems like Tom just doesn't seem like the decision to make, you know? Oh, Chef Stu just texted me, said, good episode with Heather. It was funny. Yay. I'm glad people are enjoying it. Have me back. Have me back. Katie needs to talk about this one. Katie Maloney. Katie Baloney. Speaking of Katie Baloney, I just saw that their lawsuit from their ex-business partner, what was her name, Penny? It looks like the lawsuit is moving to trial, you know? According to In Touch, Ariana Madix and Katie Maloney are headed to trial with ex-business partner after being recast on Vanderpump Rules. Vanderpump Rules alum Ariana Madix and Katie Maloney are headed to trial as the parties have yet to reach a settlement in their fight over the sandwich shop. Oh, so it looks like there were settlement negotiations or there were settlement conversations, and because they weren't able to find a happy medium, it looks like it's moving forward. Um, okay. What else is going on? That's interesting. Sad for them. Unfortunate for Katie Maloney, Baloney, and Ariana. TMZ is reporting Kim Zolciak accused Croy Bierman of throwing her to the ground, but the kids didn't. The kids deny the claim. Interesting. So they seem to be backing up their father. Kim Zolciak and Corey Bierman's Thanksgiving holiday had plenty of family drama. TMZ has learned that cops were called after the estranged couple got into a heated exchange in front of their kids just before Thanksgiving. In a new incident report obtained by TMZ, the Milton Police Department explained that they were dispatched on Wednesday to Kim and Corey's Georgia home, which is set to be auctioned off. Oh, that's right, today, the 3rd. That's right. So they're going to have to leave soon. But they came after a domestic violence call. Per the report, Kim says that she and Croy got into a tense argument while taking curtains down in their home. Now we're fighting about the curtains? What? Do the curtains match does the carpet match the drapes? The Real Housewives of Atlanta alum painting her estranged hubby as the aggressor. She claims Croy got confrontational with her, resulting in him physically removing her from the ladder by throwing her to the ground. Oh my God. He took her off the ladder and threw her to the ground. Somebody get the life alert. She claims, yeah, he got confrontational and threw her from the ladder. Cops say Kim was vehement, 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 yeah. That she was hurt during the exchange, but officers say she refused to show evidence of an injury to first responders. According to the report, the incident took place in front of Kim's children, including one of her daughters who spoke with authorities. But cops say the youngster painted a very different picture from Kim's account, stating Kim Zolciak fell from the ladder during the disagreement with Croy. So he didn't throw her off of the ladder, she fell off of the ladder. Well, how did she cops say the child told them that Croy was the one who initially was taking down the curtains, prompting Kim to get upset. Kim then allegedly got onto the ladder and began removing the curtains herself before falling on top of Croy. When asked, cops say the girl said Croy spoke with her and encouraged her to be honest with the police, but denied that she was instructed on what to say. Cops say the girl said Croy spoke with her and encouraged her to be honest with the police, but denied she was instructed on what to say. Oh, okay. As in, like, um, the daughter spoke to the police, and Croy told the daughter, "You can be honest," and the daughter was honest, but the daughter said that Croy did not coach her as to what to tell police. Another one of the kids apparently told police they did not witness Croy pull Kim from the ladder, saying that he came upstairs and interrupted the argument after hearing it unfolds from down in the basement. According to the report, Croy alleged Kim had attacked him from behind and struck him in the face. Oh, despite the contradicting statements, Kim stuck by her story, leaving officers unable to determine who the primary aggressor was. In the incident, no arrests were made. The estranged twosome who are in the middle of a messy divorce were encouraged to steer clear of each other, although cops note neither were willing to leave the house. Man, oh man. These kids are young that for them to be like getting in the middle of this and then TMZ used a family photo of them, and then it says no comment on it. Oy, oy, oy. Always their kids. I feel terrible for the kids. What an ongoing nightmare that they're directly involved. So sad. I agree, Muddy Grace. Sydney says, I hate that. Danielle says, missed another one. I'm not getting any notifications. Yeah, it is a sad story. Kim has an interesting relationship with the truth. That she does. That she does. Drunks and children always tell the truth. That is true. What happened to Chet? I don't know what happened to Chet. Remember she was, like, dating Chet for a hot second? Um, I don't know what happened to Chet at all. That I don't know. Um, Other bit of news that people seem to be talking about, um, or the last thing that we can touch on for today, um, is this story about, Joe Biden pardoning his son, Hunter Biden, because like, that's been a big thing, and I know, like, Hunter Biden so he was doing his trial here in downtown LA, and so it was, like, during the Tom Girardi trial, which was interesting, um but so, yeah, now he's, like, given him this, like, blanket pardon that goes back, like, what, like, was it 13 years? It's over a decade of, like, we're just gonna completely give you this blanket, exoneration where you can't be convicted of anything. And so, looking at the story from 2 different angles, like, one, as a father protecting his son, it's admirable, and I respect it, you know? I respect that he's gonna protect his family and he's gonna protect his son. But on the other hand, um I'm also kind of just like, but like for months and months and months and months and months, him and his entire administration and all of the reporters had constantly said, even his press secretary was constantly saying he is not going to pardon Hunter. He's not going to pardon Hunter. He's not going to pardon Hunter. But not only is he not going to pardon Hunter, but he has respect for the DOJ. He has so much respect for the Department of Justice, and nobody is above the law. And because nobody is above the law, and because he has so much respect for our judicial system, um, he would never do such a thing. And now I think Biden's just like, you know what? Biden out, yo. He's like, how many F's do I give? Zero, zero, none, not one. Zero, zero, done. Like he has Erica Jane playing in his AirPods, and he's like, how many fucks do I give? How many fucks do I give? None, not one. Zero, 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 done. You know? And so to me, like, I think I don't think he intentionally wanted to step out of the race. I think he wanted to go all the way. I think he thought he could actually win. I think he was having like housewives delusion, thinking that like in his cognitive state he could actually win the election. And so I think he was forced to step down. And so now he's just like, how many F's do I give? Zero, 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 none, not one. So from a like father's perspective, like, listen, yeah, I'm not mad at him for protecting his son. However, it is very hypocritical, right? And so many people are like, well, if you voted for Trump, then you put a convicted felon into the White House and like you don't care about it anyway, so you have nothing to say. And it's like, well, actually, no, I do have something to say because like there's this like moral superiority with the left of like we don't do that stuff. We're not as like Trump is bad. We don't do that. We're not like that. We don't, nobody is above the law. And now suddenly like, oh, okay, your son is above the law, but like we're like what happened to all the nepo baby conversations that we used to have? To me, I take issue with the hypocrisy and then the line to the American public saying that he would never do that because he has respect for the DOJ. That's where I take issues. It's like, well, but you lied to the American people. Your press secretary lied to the American people. You had the mainstream media lying to the American people. So it changed. Like you were so clear that you were never going to do such a thing because you have respect for our judicial system. And now suddenly you no longer have that respect because you're just like Biden out. I'm gonna do whatever I want. How many F's do I give? Zero, 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 none, not one. So I don't think it helps their case, right? Because it makes them look like they're just going to lie and do whatever they want to say without respect for the systems that they claim that they have respect for. Like they want to say Trump is terrible and he's going to abuse the system and whatever. But like two wrongs then don't make a right. If you're going to point the finger at Trump, then you can't be doing the same things and abusing the same systems. Like either you're better than Trump or you're the same as Trump. It can't be both, right? We can't play smart and stupid at the same time. August says, yeah, the hypocrisy is insane. Yeah, see, there we go, Tanya. Please, Zach, there are plenty of line on both sides. There are no innocent players here. Yes, but we constantly talked about how Trump was the worst thing ever. And oh my God, he's Hitler, he's Hitler, he's Hitler. And then it's like, well, but Biden can just get a pass for abusing the judicial system. Like, we don't like it when Trump does it, but like, it's okay when Biden does it. I'm just like, what? Like, again, I'm okay with him pardoning his son. Like, that's his kid. He's going to protect him and like you should protect him. But it's the line and the hypocrisy that drive me crazy. And then we're just like, well, everybody's bad. Oh, now suddenly everybody's bad? Like, what? Russ Davis says it's time for the left to go low like the right. The high road is not working for the Dems. Yeah, but you can't go low and still ride on your moral superiority. Like, go fucking low and be low, but just be honest. I think that's why Trump resonated with so many people is because he's at least being forefront about like, listen, I'm not trying to be a great guy. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do me. you know? Like Trump's, whole anthem is it's expensive to be me. How many F's do I give? Zero, 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 none, not one. Like that's literally been Trump since day one. Whereas, like, I feel like Biden's just not been honest. So yeah. Mallory says, I think it's so dumb Biden pardoned Trump. Well, only because, like, if he would have just been clear that he was going to pardon him from the beginning, again, I would have respect for the honesty in that. But for me, it was the fact that he was literally going out and saying, no, whatever the jury decides, like, I have respect for the judicial system. I have respect for whatever decision the jury comes to. As recently as June, he was telling us he was absolutely not going to do that. 5 months later, complete opposite, and he's just like, I'm doing this because I have to they tried to break my son, and they tried to break me in the process." But it's like, what's happened in the last 5 months? Nothing has happened with your son's case. Like, it's been the exact same since we got to the verdict. What was it, back in June? Or since, like, we had an answer back in June? Like, when you made these, or when you made those comments, like, there hasn't been a whole lot of change. So, yeah, you know? Um, Nicole says 0, 0, none. A man changed his mind to protect his son. I don't blame him. Again, I don't blame him. Stop watching Fox News. I don't watch Fox News at all, Jan. Sorry to break it to you. I don't watch Fox News. I don't trust Fox News any more or less than I trust CNN. But my point being, I just said I don't blame him for protecting his son. What I blame him for is lying to the American people. You know, and the hypocrisy of having this moral superiority. We're better than Trump. We don't abuse the system. And then here you are, not much better than Trump abusing the system? Can we all just get along? There's too much negativity in the world. I agree. Listen, that's why I said, like, everybody's welcome at my table. Everybody's welcome in my community. Everybody's welcome in my home. Like, I will respect you whether you agree with me or not. But that's with anything. That's not just with politics. That's from something as silly as housewives to politics, whatever, wherever we stand or disagree on. I mean, listen, if you follow any of my friends, if you follow Jacques and you follow Donna, they have very differing political viewpoints, especially when it comes to like Israel and Gaza. Um, and so I love and respect both of them. Despite which side of the fence I seem to fall on, I respect absolutely both of them. We can all be friends. And I think we can have these conversations without like getting so emotionally charged and, you know, move on. Distinguished guest says Hunter and Teddy forever, no accountability. Oh, that's funny. Um, yeah. Make Christopher a Zack Packer again. That's not my choice. Marianne Stout scared him away. Justice for Christopher. See, people miss Christopher. Yeah. If we are if we all are bothered by it, we should just get rid of the pardons. It's sending a message that as long as you're the president, you can be above the law. I agree with that. I do think that that the or at least the pardon system giving the president absolute power in that way, I do think can be abused. And I think that this is an example of that, of just like pardoning whoever for whatever reason, because then it just kind of becomes personal, right? It's more of a personal luxury of the president to have, that has no checks and balances, that I think does get a bit dicey. And so I do agree with you on that. Biden is making a big move before he leaves. Yeah, but I think that that move can, depending on, who we how those moves are used, it can hurt his legacy more than it helps him. And I think, he could be going out on such a high, whereas I think this does kind of taint that a little bit. Jan says politics and housewives are remarkably similar. They really are, though. If you think about it, they really are. We just put like a different emotion behind them and a different well, I mean, listen, even people's moral superiority, like people think that, like, remember when everyone was like, we hate Erica Jane, she's guilty, burn the bitch at the stake. Because everyone had like, a strong moral compass. Melly says, I'm sick of having dumbass politicians be the representatives for us. Yes. A lot more accountability. A lot more people need to be accountable. Yes, yes, yes. Mm, 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 mm. M says, Nina, he blanket pardoned so it wouldn't lead back to his crimes if they dug into Hunter's actual crimes. Yeah, that's kind of the other issue too, is it was like it was a giant blanket. Like they're like, he's just like this entire decade of Hunter's life. We're not going to be able to look into. The pardon is going to cover anything and everything so that if Hunter committed any crimes ever, you know, nothing, we can't touch him at all, which contradicts his statement of saying nobody's above the law. So that's where I take issue with the hypocrisy. Sorry, the reason I brought this up was I didn't even want to rant about this. I just said that while we were giving blanket pardons, I had a few suggestions that we can make. First up, there are quite a few. Sorry, I almost revealed a screenshot of the messages that Jacques was sending me from that guy, and I was like, let's not reveal that one. But first up, I think we could pardon Jennifer Shaw. Mainly because she was such a big Biden-Harris supporter. I don't know if you remember when Real Housewives of Salt Lake City first came out, she literally had her outfit it was like a dress that was designed in Biden-Harris signs. So I think she's a big Biden-Harris supporter, and we can definitely pardon her and show people that if you're a housewife, you are above the law. Next, I think we can pardon the Chrisleys because Julie Chrisley has talked about the unfair conditions of there being no air conditioning in prison. And so because there's no air conditioning in prison, I think we should treat women fairly, and women deserve AC. And for that reason, I think that we should pardon we should pardon Todd and Julie. Julie deserves to be pardoned. Next, we should pardon the Tiger King, Joe Exotic, only because he's such a cultural phenomenon. I don't think that he ever wanted to whack Carol Baskin. I think if anything, he wanted to protect the tigers from Carol Baskin, and he wanted to protect husbands from Carol Baskin. So I think that he is more of a vigilante, and for that reason, I think we should pardon Joe Exotic. Next up, I think that we should pardon Anna Delvey, because I feel like Anna Delvey, we support, all immigrants, and we want to make sure that people have, the ability to come to America and scam people. And so, for equality for people that are, from other countries, I think that we should pardon Anna Delvey. I think that she can definitely help bring back our economy. So those are my top choices. Jen Shaw, the Chrisleys, Joe Exotic, and Anna Delvey. And you know what? While we're at it, let's add Joe Gorga to the list as well. I think we should be, he should be allowed. He has daughters, and the daughters miss him. And so for that reason, I think Joe should be reunited with his daughters, because the daughters deserve rights to have a father in their life. So for that reason, I think we should pardon Joe Giudice. Russ says, Juicy Joe, bring him home. Yeah, bring back our boy. Danny says, you better have Joe Giudice on that list. Mallory says, scammers equality. Oh, pardon Sandy Balls. Yes. Well, what is your argument for pardoning Sandy Balls? That's what I want to know. Why are we going to pardon? I gave you very valid reasons why we should pardon all the rest of these people. Joe Giudice, not Joe Gorga. Yes, did I say Joe Gorga? Sorry. Oh, the Menendez brothers. Thank you for your consideration, Zach. Thank you, Danny. The Menendez brothers. Yes. Well, them, I actually think that they do have a legit reason. I think they've served their time. I think we're good. Tom Girardi. Listen, there we go. That's another good one. On behalf of the representative of the senior species, I think Tom Girardi also, has an honorable mention, and deserves to be pardoned as well. So what about Jen Shaw? We talked about Jen Shaw. Jen Shaw was the first one. She's a big Biden-Harris supporter. She had the whole dress, So I think we should absolutely bring back Jen Shaw. Marianne Stout says, because Rachel used her voodoo on Tom. Her voodoo coochie. She did voodoo magic. She's like, ooh. Not only can I climax, but I can also do magic. So yeah. No pardon for Rinna. She deserves exile. Rinna's not even, these are people that are in prison or have faced legal prosecution. Rinna's shaking her skims on Instagram. So she had a Biden Harris dress. Yeah, you didn't see I just showed you the dress. She made a dress out of Biden Harris signs. That's Jen Shaw. She made like the yard signs. She had somebody turn them into a dress for her. So yeah, Cynthia says, Zach, you are hilarious. What a creative, funny, intelligent, and interesting mind you have. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Tune into Juicy Scoop if you haven't done so yet, and catch a new episode of the Pop Report that'll be dropping on Wednesday. So thank you. Love you. Have a great rest of your day. I believe in 30 minutes, Donna Bowling is going live. So go support my friend Donna to let her know that I want to support everyone. I feel like we're like a cable, or not a cable, we're a TV station, right? And we have different hours. My show is ended, and now Donna's show is about to start next. But first, 30 minutes of local news. All right. Thank you, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Follow me at Just Plain Zach all over the internet. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zach. Again, catch Juicy Scoop. Give Lipozene a try. Go to lipozene.com and use code NOFILTER. Give it a try if you want to kickstart your weight loss goals this holiday season and prepare for the new year. All right. Bye, guys.